And welcome to UNCUT College Park's first ever podcast. I'm your host, Evan Lynch, and we're excited to finally get our content out and hit the ground running. For those of you who don't really know who we are, UNCUT is a nonprofit that inspires student athletes to be our true selves. Student-led and athlete-driven, with a commitment to authenticity, UNCUT provides a platform for student athletes to speak in a way that has not yet been seen at the collegiate level. We here at UNCUT are very excited to bring you our first episode in our series called Beneath the Shell, where we go one-on-one with our student athletes to dig deep into their journey of becoming a Terp. We have another member of UNCUT with us, co-director of Videography, Tino Quagliata. How are you doing today, Tino?
I'm doing good, Evan. I'm really excited to get this show on the road, start making content for UNCUT. We've been waiting a couple months now, and I'm just really excited to be here right now.
Oh yeah, let's go. I'm glad you could join us tonight. Hope you're safe. Hope you're doing well. And that we have a very special guest on today. Our first student athlete that we're honored and grateful to have on is Maxwell Costes, first baseman and designated hitter for the University of Maryland baseball team. Thank you for joining us today, Maxwell. How are you doing?
Awesome, man. I'm safe, healthy, and I actually got my homework done before all this. So this was the last thing I got to do today. So I was kind of looking forward to it.
Nice. And good scrimmage today.
Great scrimmage, actually. Ended up, I think it was like a 15-inning scrimmage because of all the pitchers I had to throw. But got in there, got our work done, and now I'm doing this.
Nice.
We got tomorrow. We have an off day tomorrow, so I'm definitely sleeping into 11 tomorrow.
Yeah, if I was at the field for how long were we at the field for?
I got there to get some early work in at 11, and by the time when I got back into the locker room after scrimmage, it was 6:30.
Man, yeah, that's impressive.
Right.
How'd you play today?
I did great, actually.
Nice.
Went 5 for 8 on quality at bats today. So,
can't ask for much more than that.
It's a great day at the plate.
Sorry, Tina, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying some random thing. For the people that don't know, what do you consider a quality at bat? Like, what do you?
So, a quality at bat is something that is productive, right? So it doesn't even necessarily have to be a hit. Like, say you have a guy on third and there's 1 out or no outs, right? Like, hitting a ground ball to the second baseman that scores a run, that's a quality at bat because it was productive. Or, guy on second, hitting a long fly ball to right field that moves him up to third. That's a quality at bat. Like, anything that's positively productive for the team is considered a good at bat.
I love it.
Gotcha. So speaking about kind of the season, how's the season looking out to be? How's the schedule looking?
So we got it. We're playing in where is it? I think it's Greenville, South Carolina. We're playing at a minor league stadium to start the season off versus Michigan State, March 5th. So if you guys aren't doing anything and feel like driving down to South Carolina to see your old Terps, we really appreciate it. And then the weekend after that, we have a home series actually. So we're trying to see if we can get fans, at least family, to be able to come to the game, but we're kind of just, itching to go. It's quite literally been an entire year when we start since, we last played. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. Have they announced at all what they're doing COVID wise? Like fans, no
Not
fans?
yet. We from my understanding, we just submitted the paperwork and stuff to ask if we could have fans at the game. So, fingers crossed.
Do you think that's going to be like a conference decision, kind of like basketball?
It's probably going to end up being a decision based on the school because
school. Okay.
If Iowa is having a lot of bad cases and stuff in their community and stuff, but Rutgers is doing good. Why should Rutgers not be allowed to have fans? You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Tino, you agree with that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm praying we have fans in Maryland. I mean, you guys, I'm looking forward to you guys' season. I think you're gonna be good, but yeah, I'm really hoping for fans.
Yeah, I've heard there's some high expectations. Max, how do you think the team's looking this year?
I mean, since I've been here, this is probably the deepest team we've had. Really, from starting pitching, relief pitching, hitting, like defensively, like this is probably like the most complete team we've had since I've been here, at least.
Nice. Well, with you on the team, it helps a lot. I mean,
Uh,
you're.
you give me too much credit.
I mean, well, what 2000 or 2021 preseason Big Ten Player of the Year, I believe. 2021 first team preseason All-American. I mean, the list goes on and on with the accolades you've achieved over the last 3 years. I mean, kind of 2 with last year's kind of counting, getting kind of canceled. But yeah. So where does that kind of mentality come from in terms of like where'd your love for baseball kind of start? Just yeah, how'd you fall in love with baseball?
I guess, baseball has just it's always been a game where I kind of felt comfortable, right? Like in some aspects, like I've never really had the best self-esteem. Like I've never had the best self-confidence, but like I've always felt comfortable in a baseball field. Like it's always been the one place where I feel like I can just be me. Like I don't have to worry about expectations. I don't have to worry about kind of, fitting a mold or fitting an image. Like I can be whatever I want to be on a baseball field. Right. And I played other sports. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. And I always just loved baseball more, to be honest. Like
Mhm. Yeah.
football was fun, basketball was fun, but baseball just completed me in a way that I didn't necessarily feel playing other sports.
Yeah, you get kind of on that field, and it's kind of your own little world there. I
Mhm.
got that feeling from playing sports too. Um, yeah, Tina, how do you think about that?
Just one question from your answer. Who is that person that I guess maybe you could say motivated, but like put that glove on your hand for the first time, or like
Oh, my dad, easily.
yeah,
Not even a question.
yeah,
There's this elementary school that's a mile and a half, 2 miles away from where I live in Baltimore City, and it has this like really like it's this really big like brick wall, and and it has pavement in front of it. So my dad used to always like take us there, and like he'd take these rubber balls and he'd throw them against the wall, and that's how we practice fielding. Right, I guess. And now I'm thinking about it, like right now, technically this might be vandalism, but like there were times like me and my brother would be bored, right, and we took some spray paint and like we like spray painted like in a box with an X in it, right, and that was like the strike zone, and we play like we take a tennis ball like a little bat, and we just with other kids in the neighborhood we just play baseball.
That,
So technically that's vandalism, but so hopefully the administrator of that school never finds out about this interview, so they don't know who ended up putting that there. But
that is,
the I even when I was whenever I go home like during the winter, even in college, I'll still go back there, and like my dad will take those rubber balls, he'll throw them against the wall, and that's how I practice fielding. Like there's not many baseball fields in Baltimore City to use, and the ones that there are, like, they're not kept up. Like there's grass and stuff in the infield and stuff. So you gotta figure out a way to do stuff.
I think if the principal heard this interview, I think he or she would be okay with that story.
I was
Figuring out like you made it to playing baseball in Maryland, I think you'd be fine with it.
I hope.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I think it'd be pretty honorable, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I guess kind of motivated, I mean, to get where you are, it's very tough. It's tough to play high school sports. It's tough to play college. It's really tough to play college sports. I guess what kept you going throughout, I mean, all those like 5 a.m. workouts, all those tough times getting up. What got you there? What got you where you are today?
Oh man, this is gonna be a long answer.
That's completely fine.
I I feel like it's kind of a multitude of things, really. Like first and foremost, like I understand that like I hold more than one life in my hands, so to speak, right? Like there's this thing called RBI, which is returning baseball to inner cities, right? It's basically like the Little League World Series in the way it's set up, right? And I played RBI with kids who come from like similar backgrounds than me. Like their parents don't make a ton of money. Like, they like. All right, I can say like I never went to perfect game. Never played a perfect game. I don't even know what WWBA stands for, to be completely honest with you. Right? Like I never did like any like real like showcase events or anything like that. I went to one baseball camp. I
Wow.
went to one. Take a guess at what that camp was.
Maryland baseball camp.
Yep. That's the one baseball camp my brother and I ever went to, was a Maryland baseball camp. I like to think that worked out.
It was a sign.
Right. So I like to think that I, carry like the aspirations of more than just me. Like I like to think that I'm more of like an ambassador of kids who may not be able to afford to go to showcase events and afford to go to like big name tournaments and afford to like be seen, like get themselves seen in front of college coaches, but also show that there are other players out here too, like we can play too, right? And I also think in some regards it was the fact that like I didn't want to be left behind in a way, right? Like, I wasn't really like the biggest name recruit in my recruit. There were 3 Under Armour All-Americans in my recruiting class,
Wow.
right? There's 3 of them.
Oh, at Maryland.
Yep, at Maryland. There's
Oh
3 of them,
wow.
That's you.
right? So at the time, I like the only real like, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Notoriety that I had coming in was the fact that my brother played here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in some regard, like I couldn't like stand with that. That didn't sit right with me in a way that like, you know, I'm just as good and just as capable of all these other kids. Like, and I guess I can say that at first it was kind of like fear in a way. Like I was scared to not be as good as them. Right. So that's what made me like on off days, like tomorrow, like I'm gonna sleep in, but I'm still gonna go to the field and get extra work in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like even like after practice, I'm still gonna go like get extra work in after practice, because like at when I first got here, it was more so like I was scared not to do it. Like I was scared that like if I didn't do it, then like I wouldn't be able to catch up to those kids.
Mm-hmm.
But now but now like going to talk to my like psychologist and stuff, where she is the most amazing human being in the world, like that's turned more into like drive of like a drive that like I can be as good as anybody else. Like all that other stuff like didn't matter. Like it's more so that like I had a drive and like a mindset like to be able to learn like what works for me, like how I am able to be my best self, and I know how to maximize that now. So that fear of not being good enough turned into like the motivation to like prove that I was good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And like a self-confidence that like I can, like I might not be as talented as anybody else, but like I'm not going to be outworked by anybody else.
When, like, around what age did you come to that realization that
Probably I honestly like the winter before my sophomore spring semester, literally right before the season.
mm-hmm.
Which, and then look, I go on to have, even though it was a shortened season, I feel like I would have continued doing the same thing, because I found like it wasn't necessarily I changed anything in my swing. It wasn't like any, huge like mechanical, changes. It was a mindset change, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I felt calm and comfortable in the box now. Right. Instead of that like not nervousness, but that like anxiousness to like do something big to prove myself. Right. Like now it was more like, like I'm just chilling in there now. Like I know I'm good enough now.
Mm-hmm. It's the confidence.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
But yeah, I mean, you said even earlier in the podcast that you said that you got to the field early today and you stay at practice late. Like that definitely builds up, and I mean, definitely your coaches see that, but it matters. Those little things matter a lot in almost every aspect of life. If you want to be good at something, then those hour before practice, hour after, whatever, they mean a lot. And
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
mhm,
Like though naturally by doing that, you also become like a great leader too. Just your teammates see you, and like, yeah, they'll see you going early to practice, and it radiates throughout a team like that.
and
Mhm.
they see you like being successful. They're like, hey, maybe that's how you do it. So they start doing it too. And yeah. But yeah, I mean, was it mostly your dad who was kind of like, did they try to push you in any sport? Like you said you played football and basketball.
Nah, man. My dad like let up me and my brother play whatever we wanted growing up.
Hmm.
Like there were times when baseball teams and basketball teams and football teams would want us to play and be, and my dad be like, no, like, there's some basketball team would want us to play during the summer. He'd be like, no, it's baseball season. Like my dad wanted us to play growing up. In fact, funnily enough, like, my brother almost went to Navy to play football.
Oh wow.
Really?
Jeez.
Right? Like he almost went to Navy to play football. So like my dad was never the type of person to like push us in one sport. He just, wanted us to be happy with what we were doing.
Hmm. Were you better than your brother?
I don't think so. I don't everybody likes to say so, but like I definitely don't think so. Simply because like, experience counts for something.
Hmm.
Like
Definitely.
no matter how good I get, like my brother will call me and teach me something within like 5 minutes
Mm.
that I just didn't know. So, or it'll be something that I'm trying to, progress at or get better at, that he'll explain to me in a way that I didn't think about it. It'll make much more sense then. So like, no matter how much I, progress as a player or a person, like he still has like wisdom and experience over me, and that definitely counts for something.
Definitely. I mean, oh, sorry, Tina, you got it.
I just had another question in mind. Who as a kid, who did you look up to, and as an like what athlete did you look up to? It didn't have to be in baseball, but it might be in baseball as like your number one role model.
Honestly, LeBron James.
Really?
Right? Like,
Interesting.
and not because of anything like athletic, really. Like, like he does a lot of stuff like off the court that like I feel like always gets overlooked by people. Like the man started an entire school.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like people don't understand the scope of what that is. Like
Hmm.
he started a school, right? So I've always been someone who I say this all the time. Like baseball is more so just a means to an end for me. Like I want to do stuff for my community. I want to do stuff for other people. And baseball has been a way, and I'm not saying I don't love playing baseball, but it's more so that like I can use baseball to do greater things.
Hmm.
Like bro, there's more to life than hitting a curveball. Unfortunately, like there's much more to life. Like the oldest you can play baseball is probably like 40, 41.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the average human dies when they're 80. So what are you going to do for the next 40 years?
Yeah.
See, like, they're like
I agree.
I remember my football coach at Gilman actually said that, if he ever finds out all we did in life was make some money and have like a notoriety as a person, he's gonna come fight us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He said, like, what really matters in life is, what kind of friend are you? What kind of husband are you? What kind of son are you? What kind of brother are you? Like, what did you do for other people? Right? Like, that's like, I like to think that, like, that's what leaving a legacy means. Like, what did you do for other people?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if you look at the most memorable people in history, like Martin Luther King. I'll say Martin Luther King. I'll say Gandhi, and I'll say I'm blanking on this right now.
I would say LeBron's up there.
Like, okay, let's
yeah.
go with LeBron then,
Yeah.
right? Like they were great people in their own right, But what did they like? Look what they did for other people.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? Like, they went and did stuff for other people, and that's why they're remembered, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
If I go and become first round pick and make some millions of dollars, right? I didn't really do much for other people, did I? Right? I didn't really do anything to be remembered for. I didn't really help anybody, right? And what kind of life is that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, that seems like a pretty empty life to me.
It's a good
right?
point.
Like, again, or this is like, say I and knock on wood for this, but like, if I'm ever blessed enough to sign a contract like Mike Trout, right? Like a $400 million contract, right? Like, what are you gonna do with all that money? Like what? Like, there's always something more to buy, right? Like there's always a bigger house, a nicer car, you can always go on a better vacation. Like,
Yeah.
There's more to life than just acquiring things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's more to life than acquiring accolades. There's more to acquiring money or notoriety and all that stuff. Like, what did you do for other people? That's all that matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, material things aren't truly fulfilling.
Exactly.
And they're temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, temporary thing, bro. Yeah. Fame and fortune are fake and they fade.
I like that.
It's a good quote.
It is.
Right? Like, when you die, you can't really take anything with you, my guy.
Yeah. When
I was gonna say, you have a question.
So when did you, like, maybe it was middle school, maybe high school, when did you realize you were like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this sport. Like, I have a chance to go somewhere.
I honestly, right, like, this is gonna sound weird because I guess I'm looking at this like, subjectively and instead of objectively, which, my psychologist gets on me a lot for that. I don't necessarily think, like, I never necessarily thought I was a great player.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I've never really thought that I was like a hard worker. Like, I don't think I'm a hard worker. Right? I really think that the things that I do are what's necessary for what I want. Mm-hmm. Right? Like people can give me, like, credit and praise for getting extra work in, but if I want to achieve the dream that I want, like, I'm gonna have to do that. Like, that's something necessary, right? Like, or if I want to achieve this dream that I want, I'm gonna have to perform, right?
Yeah, you
like,
gotta earn it.
Yeah, mm-hmm. You gotta earn it, right? Like I don't necessarily think I don't like to think I'm a great player, because, like, that's when you get, like, complacent, and complacency is never good. But mm-hmm. Like, I don't think I'm a hard worker, because, like, I feel like I do what's necessary for what I want. Right? Where's the book? Oh, there it is. Where's the book at? Right? There's this book my coach had me read, right? And it's called "It Takes What It Takes." right? So the book is I've read this while I was home, right? And the point of the book was that, right, like you don't necessarily have a choice if you really want something, right? Like if you want to get an A on a test, you don't necessarily have a choice whether you want to study for that test or not, right?
Yeah.
Because if you want to get an A, it's necessary to study.
You have to. Yeah.
Right? Like if I apply that idea to like, baseball, right? Like if I want to be a major league player, like there are certain things that I just have to do. Right? Like I'm gonna have to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm gonna have to be able to go and get extra work in and like understand like what it is that I do good and maximize that. Right? Like there are certain things I just have to do. And as much as it seems unfair and as much as it seems like it sucks, that's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I hope whoever's listening is taking notes right now, because this is wisdom right here, Max.
Yeah, it really is.
Right?
Hopefully,
Like honestly though,
I'm
like
learning from you.
like and think about like in any single thing you want to do, right? Anything, literally anything in the world, right? Say you want to be a doctor. Say you want to be a firefighter. Say you want to be the president of the United States. First of all, there's not even a guarantee that those things are going to happen. One, right? So if you want to do those things, if you want to give yourself a chance to do those things, there's just certain aspects that can't be overlooked. Right? Like if you want to be a firefighter, you're going to have to steel your resolve to be able to handle yourself under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to go work out so you know that like in any situation, like, you can keep your your mental state and your physical state in check. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be a doctor, you're going to have to learn how to work under pressure. Right? Cuz when you have a child under you that's dying, right? You're going to have to be able to, to stay calm so you can save their life. Right? There's just certain things that like you're going to have to learn how to do for anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just is what it is.
Yeah. You're required to out of yourself.
And once you get to learn those things, you learn those better than the back of your hand. So
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was
awesome.
So I don't know when you want to wrap it up, Evan. I have one more question that would be my last question.
Yeah, I have some sillier, like kind of not as serious questions, but you got your question.
I live for these. Let's do this. I live for these.
I have a serious one.
Yeah, you got it, Tino.
Sure, let's go.
Yeah. All right. So my last serious one is so I'm not exactly sure because of COVID. Usually it's June. The draft is in June. You're a junior, so you're eligible. How does it make you feel that, like, I'm sure like the draft day is the day you've been working for most of your life. How does it make you feel that?
I mean, like,
this day is almost.
I people ask me that a lot, right? And I feel like I always give kind of like the same answer every time. Like I gave this answer when people ask me about winning the freshman of the year thing.
Mm-hmm.
I gave this answer when people asked me about like what's it like being like an All-American and what's it like, like hell, this week I got nominated for the Golden Spikes Award, which was just the most like that. I felt like I was floating that day.
Congratulations, man.
It doesn't feel real sometimes, right? Like it and it's weird because like obviously it's in front of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I was working out with my brother and dad and it was -3 degrees outside, right? Like I kind of told myself like this is gonna be worse. This is gonna be worth it one day, right? Or when I was in high school and I was waking up like at 6 a.m. on the morning before games to get some hitting in, right? And I told myself it'll be worth it, right? Whenever I go out and do extra work, I always tell myself like this is gonna be worth it, right?
Mm.
But it's funny because like you tell yourself that, so you go and do it. To be honest, right? Like, and sometimes it feels weird that like this is actually working, right? Like in a sense that like I told myself that, but like a small part of me didn't actually think like it was gonna work, right? Like it's weird, right? It's weird to be getting these awards and accolades sometimes because there are kids that I kind of like in a I guess the best way to say it is like follow them and like look up to them, right? Like that were in my like in my like graduating class, the class of 2018, right? And it feels weird to be told that like I'm better than those kids now. Like there are people out there who would say that I'm better than them because like in some ways like there are kids that were like perfect game All-Americans, Under Armour All-Americans that I still go and look at what they do and to see like what they do well so I can try that for myself. Right? Like there are kids that go to like Texas, Alabama, Florida, Arkansas, Oregon State, UCLA that I watched their game to see like what do they do well, right? That I can try to add into my game, right? And then like there are people out there who would tell me that, oh, you're better than them, right? And I guess in some ways like I don't believe it. And because subconsciously, like, I don't like kind of like I said earlier in the interview, like I don't want to become complacent. Right. Like I like to think that, you can always grow, you can always progress in like who you are, like in anything you do.
Definitely. And
right. So like I think that, if anything, like I feel like that's like something that helps me. Right. It's something that like, helps me like keep myself grounded in a way, like make sure like, I never get complacent. I never get like okay with where I am.
never get like too cocky, never get like never get that ego up.
Exactly.
And I mean, I can definitely tell by that 100%. And like speaking of about those accolades, like how do you stay within yourself? How do you how do you handle that? Does it put pressure on you?
My hitting coach, who I jokingly call my dad sometimes, he always says that to be at peace, you need to be authentic to yourself. Right. So, whatever I did to get here, right, I got to keep doing. Hell, the Coach Vaughn, right, he has this thing called is chop wood, carry water.
What does that mean?
Right. And in fact, I have it written on my mirror over there. Right. And the term comes from like samurai lore. Right. And the full quote is like, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Like whatever it was to get you to a good place, whatever it was to get you to a place of like enlightenment, you need to keep doing those things.
Wow. I've never heard that before. That's awesome.
Right. And I took that to heart. Right. So, like I like writing poetry. So like I just sit down and write sometimes. I really, really like anime. So like, bro, like I'll sit down and just watch anime with like other kids and stuff. Like I don't necessarily, like I said before, I don't necessarily think I'm a great person. I'm a great player or a great person. I just think I'm me. Right? Because I feel like once you start getting that into your mind, like you're a great person, you're a great player, yada yada, like you start to try to live up to those things. Like you start to try to be something that you might not be. Right? Like I don't, like I think I'm just me. Like I don't necessarily think I'm a great human being. I don't necessarily think I'm a great player. I just do what I do. That's it.
I mean, that's all you can do in the end. Just be yourself. Like, and I mean, I know it's tough I don't know how hard it is to play and with all that pressure on, but like it is tough. It's tough to live up to those expectations that everybody has, and that's good. I'm glad that you have kind of a way to stay within yourself and kind of not ignore those like expectations, but I guess just ultimately live up to them. And it's cool to see that.
I think it's also the fact that I'm blessed to be surrounded by like a good nucleus of people too.
Mm-hmm.
Like my best friend in the whole world plays defensive end for Stanford. Right, starting defensive end for their
Wow.
football team. He'll call me sometimes just to make jokes about me. When they when they post like the photos of me like on the Instagram page talking about some accolade I got, he'll call me just to make jokes about how ugly I look. Right, and that's my guy right there. Or, I'm blessed to say that like I'm surrounded by people who will let me be me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like my really good friends from high school, I still talk to all of them, right? Like they treat me like, they don't treat me like I'm some celebrity or something. They treat me like I'm a human being, right? When my mom and dad call me, they don't even ask me about baseball. They just ask me like how I'm doing, like how's class is going, are you sleeping, are you eating enough? Like they talk to me like I'm a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I feel like that's something too right there that helps me, because it makes me it keeps me in a state of mind that like there's more to life than just baseball.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was gonna bring that kind of full
Right, like
circle. Yeah.
they make me real like I could be happy and successful without baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's something that's all, and honestly that's something else that kind of helps me realize, be able to handle pressure, to be able to handle like the expectations of people, because
Mm-hmm.
it took me like I said, like it took me all the way to the start before the sophomore year of the season, right? But I came to realize that like I could be happy and successful and live a great life without playing baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it kind of made me start enjoy playing baseball, because now I know that like if I could be okay without this and I still enjoy doing it, then why not just go all out with it then? Like just enjoy it while I have it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most important things I actually just learned recently to like having a good head on your shoulders is, and you've been showing it throughout this whole interview, is like having gratitude for the things that got you where you want to be, and just always reminding yourself of that, which you just did like just a second ago, talking about your friends and your family. It's so important, and I'm really happy just to learn that, and it seems like you've known that for a while.
Yeah, I agree. Like whenever stuff kind of just when you feel depressed, when you feel down, you think of the good things like that, what you just said,
Exactly.
Tino, and then you're like, you know what? It could be worse and it's not that bad. So
Exactly, especially with a game like baseball.
yeah.
we're not even gonna get into that. Like, especially with a game like baseball.
Yeah, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like I always say, like I'm just me. Like I don't think I'm better than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Evan, so do you want
Silly question.
I get to the silly questions, Evan?
So did you grow up an O's fan? But you
I
grew up in
did.
Baltimore?
My earliest memories are sitting in the upper decks of Camden Yards watching Miguel Tejada, Melvin
Nice.
Gordon, and like Rafael Palmeiro.
Nice.
Right. So yeah, like I would say I'm an Orioles fan. Like, bro, I would cry if I got drafted by the Orioles. I would cry tears of joy.
Well, we got 3 out of the 5 AL East fans in this Zoom call. Tino's a Yankees fan, I'm a Rays fan, and you're an O's fan. So
Love to see it.
there we go. What? So if you're not playing baseball, what are you doing? Like, what are some of your other hobbies? You said you liked anime. You said like writing poems.
I'm studying to be a mental therapist.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I seem to have a gift to be able to connect with people.
I'm not surprised at all based on
Right,
this
like,
interview at all.
I seem to be able to be good at like connecting with people and like and getting them to open up, and like I seem to be like, you know, have a gift for like being able to hear what people say between their words.
Mhm,
If you get what I mean by that, like
mhm,
in the sense of like I can kind of like hear what's really bothering people, even if like, you know, they say like, oh, I'm just like, you know, I'm just upset because like I did bad on a test, or like I'm just upset because like, you know, I have like I'm in feeling not good enough recently,
mhm.
right? Being able to like sit down and like, for some people, for some reason, people seem to be easy to opening up to me. So why not try to do something good with it? You know,
Yeah, and talk about helping
go
people.
do something good with it.
Talk about helping a lot of people too. That would,
Mhm.
I mean, that would help a ton of people get out of some just sad times, I guess.
Yeah,
And
man.
so,
Yeah.
who do you think who do you think your favorite O's player is of all time?
Oh goodness gracious. Man.
Chris Davis? Just kidding.
I might have to say Adam Jones.
Oh, good
I
one.
might gotta say Adam Jones. Man, that's a hard one. That's a really hard one right there. But I think I'm gonna go with Adam Jones for that one.
Nice.
He's a legend. I'll never forget when he robbed that. I think it was Manny Machado.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wearing the WBC. That was an amazing moment.
Yeah, I remember that too. That was
Mhm.
awesome. Um, yeah, and that's about, I mean, do you have anything else, Tino?
No. I got all my questions in that I wanted. It was an
Glad
awesome
to hear it,
talk.
man.
I had
So
some
hopefully
That
you guys
was
enjoyed the interview.
Yeah, that was awesome. A lot of good quotes there. I don't know which one we're gonna use to promote this, but that was awesome. Yeah, sorry, Maxwell. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to do this. We really appreciate it. I know it was kind of tough scheduling this, but that's
No,
just
bro,
the way it is.
you make time for the things that are important to you.
Yeah, and it sucks. I'm sorry. Like I wish we could have been doing this in person, but obviously
It is what it is, man.
obviously with our current situation, that's not possible. But it's very successful anyways, and thank you for joining us. I give best of luck to you guys during the season. I hope we can come to some games,
Thank you.
and yeah, go Terps.
Go Terp, Joe.
Stay safe and healthy.
Of course.